Hi everybody, welcome to the webinar again. In the previous session, we basically have shown how the sales application work based on contractual sales and how it's integrated with inventory and how inventory gets updated real time. So in this session, we will be solving another case, and the case is how do we sell a deal based on contract where we don't have enough product in the inventory, so we invoice the client. Let me just get my favorite view where I can sort my products based on categories. It basically helps me to have an overview on the products. So the case is, again, we will be selling something over here which we don't have on hand, and obviously we will invoice the customer upfront 50%, and then we will purchase the product after the invoice is paid, and then we will deliver the goods, and then we will invoice the rest of the payment to the customer. So let's get started. So you'll see we have Carvin Guitar C17, which has a selling price of $1,400 and on hand we have nothing. So let's solve the case over here. So we will go to sales application first, and just like the previous sales deal, we'll click on create quotation. Takes a minute. We click on who's our customer. So you see we don't have the vendor list over here because we will be invoicing the customer at the first place and invoice them 50%. So let's say World Music is my customer, and then the expiration date for this offer is 28th. Payment terms is immediate payment, and add an item. So let's say Carvin Guitar C17, the one that I have shown you a while before, that we don't have anything on hand. So I have selected the product, and you see you have a message from the system which basically says that you plan to sell 1 unit, but you have only 0 unit available in my company warehouse. So we click on OK. It will say we don't want to sell 1 copy, we want to sell 3 copies of this guitar. Let's click on 3. And it basically says you plan to sell 3 units, but you don't have anything in your hand right now. So we click on OK, no problem, and the tax is configured by 15%, and the subtotal, the total taxes, everything is calculated automatically. So we click on confirm sale from here. Once we click on confirm sale, just like how I have shown you before, that if you go to inventory, you'll see that you have 1 waiting to deliver. So if you click on this, you'll be seeing SO004, which you basically created a while before, that you don't have any reserved quantity over here. So let's go back to the sales application and create the invoice. As I've shared the case with you, that we will be invoicing 50% upfront from the customer first, and then we will purchase, and then we will be delivering the goods, and then afterwards we will invoice the rest of the payment to the customer. So let's click on create invoice, and it basically gives you a few options over here. Right now we're going to choose down payment percentage, and as I have shared the case with you, we will be invoicing 50% of the price to the customer. Let's create invoice. Once you click on create invoice, you'll be seeing that you have created 1 invoice over here, which you can see once you click on here. It'll basically show you that you have already invoiced 50%. Now we'll go back to the mother accounting system over here, which is the invoicing, and we click on sales, we click on customer invoices. If you click on customer invoices, you'll be seeing that you have a draft of $2,100 over here, which is yet to be validated from the invoicing application. So we click on validate from here, which basically means that we are acknowledging. So by clicking on validating, we basically make sure that we're acknowledging the payment. So let's register the payment from here, or you can, in the previous session, we have already shown you that you can always send this invoice to your customer with the email template, and also with your invoice template, where your customer is going to have everything in one screen, and you can make all these operations with just few clicks. So let's click on register payment, which basically means that we are registering this payment. You can put your memo numbers etc. So once we click on registering payment, it means that you have received the payment. It basically says today's date, paid on 02/26/2018. Now, we don't have any product in hand, but we have 50% of the payment registered to the system. Let's go to the purchasing app, where we will purchase, for an example, 5 products. So let's click on create request for quotation. Just do the same thing that I have shown you before on purchasing application. So let's say we have the same vendor, the date is same, the reference is US Carvin. Let's put it this way. Let's click on the product that I have orders. So Carvin Guitar C17, the quantity should be 5. And then you don't have any unit price over here, so let's say the unit price is $600 each, and it'll calculate the taxes, it'll calculate everything over here. Now we confirm the order. Once you click on confirm the order, just like how you've seen in the sales application being integrated with inventory, if you click on inventory, you'll see you have one to do, which is one to receive, because you have already confirmed the order. So you can go to one to receive details from inventory, or you can straight away go to purchases. You can go to purchase orders, and you have your order over here, which is the 5 pieces of Carvin Guitar C17, and you can receive product. Once you click on receive product, you can send the PO by email, of course, to your vendor. That has already been covered in the previous video. So over here, your initial demand was 5, and you are to validate how many you have got. So let's click on I have got 5. And you can obviously leave a message. This is the beauty of the system. You can obviously leave a message. I have received the product in good condition. So your team members can see that you have basically received the product in good condition. So let's validate this. This means that your goods are in your inventory. Let's check how if the inventory is updated. Let's go to master data and products. Over here we see this is the product. You'll see we had 0 products in hand. Right now we have on hand 5 units. Now the next step is we have to go to our inventory, and we have to deliver the goods. So you'll be seeing one waiting over here, and if you click on this, it basically says that warehouse out 0004, which is your customer is still waiting for your product. Now you see your initial demand is 3. You don't have any reserve, you don't have anything done, so you have to validate this whole thing. So we'll click on check availability over here, and now you see the reserved is updated. It wasn't updated before because when we created this entire delivery request, we didn't have the products in the inventory. Right now we have the inventory, so you have already checked the reserves and it's updated real time. So let's click on edit. Let's click on 3 over here, which basically means that your initial demand was 3, you have reserved 3, and now you're delivering 3. Let's validate. Once you validate this means that you have already shipped your product. So let's click on save, and let's go to master data and see if your inventory is real-time updated. Here we go. It was 5 copies before. We have just shipped 3 copies to our customer. So it's real-time updated. So the last 2 things that we have to do is we have purchased the thing, but we haven't paid the bill to our vendor. So let's go to purchase orders. Let's see, PO 0003, $3,000 on tax, $450 with the taxations. We have waiting for bills. So we have to create a vendor bill from control and vendor bill, and we have to pay the bill. All right, so let's click on our vendor was vendor USA. Let's click on bill date is 28, due date is 28 again. Okay, so we don't have to add any item on. We don't have to fill up a whole bunch of things. We can just click on add purchase order number, which is PO003. It basically automatically fetches the last PO number that you worked with. If you click on this, it basically fills up the rest of the data on its own. It's pretty straightforward. So the next thing you have to do is just click on validate. So if you're paying the bill, you can always, put your reference number in the source document so that, your hard copies and your soft copies be aligned in the same way. So if you click on register payment, which basically means that you have already paid the bill, and it basically asks you the memo number that you have paid the bill for. As I told you, that your hard copies and your soft copies needs to be on the same page, and it also basically asks you whether you have paid through bank or paid through cash. So let's validate, saying that we have paid through bank, which means that you have paid your vendor. And that means that in this entire billing has, already been added to your reporting systems over here. The last thing we need to do is we have to go to sales, and you'll see that sales order 004 has invoiced once with half of its payment. It still needs to be invoiced. So let's click on create invoice from here. If you click on create invoice from here, it'll basically show you that what are you trying to invoice. So over here, we will select invoiceable lines and deduct down payments, because we have already invoiced this customer once with 50% upfront payments. So we click on create invoice. So you'll see your invoice is created over here. So if you click on it, you'll be seeing that you have invoiced for the rest of the payment. So once this invoice is created, we'll always go back to our mother accounting system, click on sales, customer invoices, and you'll see that this rest of the payment over here is still drafted. So we click on this. Now we have to validate this whole thing, just like, how we did it previously. It tells like you can print invoice, or you can send the invoice to your customer so that you can let your customer know that he's still left with paying the rest of the amount. You can always print the invoice as well, just like how we have shown you back. You'll see that Carvin guitar, quantity 3, unit price $1,400, taxes 15% is done over here. You have paid already the advance $2,100, and the rest of the payment is being charged over here. So let's click on register payment, which means that you have got the rest of the payment from your customer, and you always, obviously can write down your memo numbers and choose whether you have received the payment in bank or cash. It's pretty simple, pretty, identical how sales application works for contractual sales, or even really doesn't matter if you have quantity on your hand or if you don't have quantity on your hand, and also how purchase works, and how both sales and purchase are all integrated with the inventory application, where you have real-time updates on your products, and also how the inventory enables you to apply the power of filtering and categorizing your products and have a bird's view on everything you have. I hope this helps to understand the usability of the product, and hoping to hear back from you guys. Thanks.